Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to this week's episode of River City 93. I'm your host, as always, Elliot Barr, and joining me is a man that decided to protect his mental health this weekend, not pay attention to any results, watch the game on 2x speed, but didn't realize ESPN doesn't have that feature. It's Mr. Matt Myers. How are you doing, sir?
Present.
That's about right. That's about where the Kickers were last night. Present. Yeah. Interesting. I think more so some of the commentary coming out of this match is probably more interesting than what happened in the match. So, yeah. If you haven't heard, Friday night, Charlotte AV Alta ended in a draw, officially eliminated the Kickers from the 2025.
Wasn't it a draw?
Was it a draw? Oh, no, it was a win. My fault.
Yeah, Charlotte scored in the 90th minute. Yeah. And a draw would have kept us in it.
Right.
Until what happened on Saturday.
Right. And what happened? So then Saturday comes along, and the Kickers already knowing they are out. We're kind of just like, I'm not going to say lethargic because they played well in moments. It's just a microcosm of our season. Lose to Texoma in their final home game of the season. So Texoma sweeps us, which is mind-boggling to me. And then on Sunday, Westchester beats FC Naples is probably one of the most shocking results of the season and puts the Kickers back into wooden spoon contention. So the Kickers go from like a 2% playoff chance to possibly getting the wooden spoon all in the course of 72 hours. Am I missing anything?
I mean, what's the difference between 13th or 14th? Who cares?
A trophy, but I don't think it's a trophy anyone wants. But I mean, you're right.
Also, I've seen a lot of people talking about this. Understand the tiebreakers. Westchester would have to finish above us. We're going to have them on wins if we're level. We'd have one head to head if we're level. If you think they're going to find 4 more points in their last 2 games, sure, have at it.
So that's where we are right now. Let's talk about the game briefly because we talk about every game here, even though we don't want to, and we're going to do more listener questions. I think the biggest thing coming out of this game was Chandler Dwyer misses a PK. The Kickers were the better team for the first half, creating some dangerous moments against Texoma, but Texoma finds a header in the second half, and the Kickers just kind of mulled around in Texoma's box and didn't really do anything outside of that. Am I missing anything, Matt?
I mean, those are the individual pieces. Like, they didn't play bad. They weren't necessarily good.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't bad. The problem I saw was every single guy, for 80% of the field, playing pretty decently.
Yeah.
But everybody, was allergic to doing anything sensible once they got in or near the penalty area. Like, just let's dribble an extra 2 dribbles and right into a guy's feet. Oh, let's trip over the ball. Let's let's just turn around, pass it back to midfield. That sounds like a better option than actually trying anything. Let's get a wide open look and score 3 points instead of the sport you're actually playing. Just the execution and the decision making near the goal, just mind-boggling awful.
Yeah, it wasn't the best. It felt like they were just overthinking. Like, it was like, we got to be perfect. And it's weird because you would think this team knows that they're eliminated from the playoffs. I'm pretty sure word spread pretty quickly. So I was hoping to see a team that was more freer, just letting it go. And instead, it seemed like once the PK miss happened, it's kind of like they went back into their old ways of putting the handbrakes on themselves.
No, it was happening before the penalty, dude. You got it, Darwin, getting around the keeper and then taking 2 extra touches, and then instead of just hitting the ball hard, rolls the ball to the goal line, so it's an easy clearance. Emmy had a couple that, why are you taking extra touches? Shoot the ball. Like prime Emmy shoots the ball there and scores. This Emmy takes extra touches and gets the ball deflected out for a corner.
Yeah.
Instead, Darwin had a couple others where all year, he's been taking those rips and just kept going, trying to find the right look. Kirkland had some of those in the first half, or just trying to take. It's a little hypocritical, but taking a couple really just low percentage chances. Like it wasn't just after the penalty; it was the entire game.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be interesting because I don't know if you listened to the commentary or whatnot, but they made a comment about how both teams are approaching the upcoming offseason, and Texoma's coach was like, hey, we're looking to take our core and really build with it and see some exciting things from it. And then on the opposite side, they was talking about how Darren was looking at, the offseason and how he mentioned, they're not dumb. Agents are calling them, whether it's for contracts, whether it's with the Kickers or we're not. And it's interesting to hear that two different dynamics within both sets of teams. And that definitely reflected on the field, where you have one set of guys that are kind of like going and flowing in one direction. And then you have another set of guys that are kind of branching off and not being individualistic in a way and not really playing as a team.
Yeah, well, you also got to take all of that with a grain of salt because it's the the narrative that Darren wants to put out there, right up front. We've heard plenty of stuff come through commentary in the past that ended up as being not true, in any way.
Yeah.
You're also assuming that the commentary guy heard it right. That idiot thinks that we have a home game this week against Alta. So with that kind of prep work, I don't know what you're really expecting out of any of this.
Yeah, that's also true. But it was an interesting point to kind of look at it and whatnot. But we're not going to waste our time talking about this game anymore. And really, there's nothing else to it. I mean,
there are some other decent points. Like I went into it. Obviously, I knew what the score was already, but you'll be able to see how some different guys did. And like I thought Beckett in round 2 at center back, perfectly good. He got burned, on speed at one point, but other than that, thought he had another perfectly good, day as a center back there. And maybe there is something, to this now that we've seen 2 in a row. I think, I like what Maxi brought. Guys were active. I think, again, Kanagwa came off the bench and performed decently well. Like season's over, but he's I think a viable reserve midfielder at this point. We saw Grafton Call get his first league minutes, coming on at the end of the game for about 10ish minutes or so. So there's little things here and there. James had a good save or two.
Yeah, had one. I remember he had one coming off his line. I think it was in there in the second half or whatnot.
Yeah, and then
made a big save there.
And then the social media play of the game was him just sliding out to pick up a through ball at the end of the game, and not the big one-on-one save. It's like, come on, y'all.
I'm hoping for that one. They just didn't have good footage of it, but who knows?
Sure.
Yeah, so I mean, the Kickers going on and they play AV Alta this Friday night. They fly out there. Any thoughts on how this game is going to go with AV Alta? Like, what? Obviously, results, being what they are, we really care less. But what are you looking to see from this team or certain players?
Right. Embrace the hater side of you, and bring Alta down with you. If Alta doesn't win, they're out. So if we can't play, nobody has to play. That sort of deal.
Yeah.
So find a way to get out of there with a result. I mean, whoever plays, plays. Like there's some stuff I saw on the field where there's guys who I'm now done with after this game. Like Neil Soifert, he can just leave. I don't care about this guy anymore. What a petulant child at the end of that game, getting that yellow card. This comes after a few games ago when he gets in a little hissy fit and fight over Chandler taking the penalty in the other game. Selfish guy, hasn't really brought that much to the team. He can get the hell out of town.
Wow.
What a child.
Okay. Strong words. Anyway. Wow, I don't know where to go with that. I mean, is there anyone else?
I mean, you saw what he did. What are you doing right there?
Yeah, that's true. I don't know, man. Like
you're brought in to be a veteran leader, a key cog, and you're having a meltdown that you would get mad at a 7-year-old for having that meltdown on the field like that.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like Neil Soifert was supposed to be this box-to-box midfielder who was supposed to help create, but he really seemed to. I don't know. Like I don't know if he didn't adjust well to USL League One or it just didn't mesh well the way we thought it was.
I mean,
I'm not gonna lie to you,
fine
Matt.
Player for this league, but we don't need or want a guy like that, around.
Yeah,
screw him.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Matt. Like what I'm really looking for in this AV Alta game is one. I want to see the development of Beckett Howe at the center back position because I think there is some good things to take from that. Him and Marcelo Large, I think that's a good partnership. Also, I'm not going to read too much into the bench, but I was interested to see that there wasn't any other veteran center back. We had Cloudy or Guy didn't make the trip. It was more so Kyle and Griffith Garnett. But I'm interested to see how that partnership grows. I want to see, I'm not going to lie to you, I want to see Landon Johnson get more minutes.
Why?
Just so I can make my final decision on it. Just so I can say, like, I've seen it. And these are dead rubber games. Barring the emotional side of the Henry Derby, there are dead rubber games. I just want to be able to look at it and be like, all right, this is where Landon Johnson stands within the team. This is what he is, right? This is who he is because he's year 3. Like this is now the decision year, and I just make that determining factor.
I get what you're saying, but I haven't seen anything all year for him again. Right now, like if we're gonna mix up the front line, which I think is fine to be able to do, like I feel like Hayden's earned minutes.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna go in a different direction there. Like give him some run. He's looked decent. When he's been out there. You're gonna get full effort from him. It might not be the cleanest, but you're gonna get that out of him and reward that at this point in the year.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean maybe Hayden. I'm trying to think who else I want to see out there. I mean it's not tough to say, but like maybe an academy kid. I don't know if Andrew Richmond is planning on being a pro.
It's a Friday game. They might have school.
Oh yeah, that's right. My fault. But yeah, I mean, just James standing in goal will be fine. Yeah, I mean, it's tough because it's like who's staying, who's going. Yeah, I mean, it's sad that we're at this point now of where we're just 2 dead rubber games. One of them is a derby. But yeah, leave that all be. So let's talk about some listener questions. We got a few. This one is from I'm laughing at it because it just makes me realize that how bad the situation is. What is your overall evaluation of Bill Hart's 2025 season or importance in Rue's time in general and for Soy for his first year? We already talked about Soy for his first year. he didn't really live up to the hype like what we thought it was. But what about Bill Hart's 2025, given the injuries and what we've seen from him thus far?
I mean, the fair grade's incomplete, right? Because he's missed so much of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like when he's gotten back, like in the last month and a half, when he's actually been playing, had some good contributions. I think he's been able to when he's actually out on the wing, he's been able to help make some stuff click. He's drawn 2 penalties in that time. So that part's been nice. I think that just the big question with him is, will he be able to stay healthy long term?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is the bigger thing. Do you think there is a potential for a position change for him? Like keeping him as a center mid instead of putting him out on the wing?
I don't know if I've loved like him, Emmy, and Darwin all like so tight in together. Yeah, because they almost feel like they get in each other's way.
I like it, but I would say this. I think you need Kirkland as striker to push the back line back. I don't mind him in the middle, but you definitely need Kirkland there to kind of push the back line back.
I think he's better out wide, but I don't know if his physicals are going to be able to maintain year over year be out wide given his where his knees are or aren't, as the case may be. So yeah, if they can plan ahead and really be able to design something around that sort of a center midfielder, because that's a different style than what we've been using all year in that sort of position. I think Darwin does it a little bit better than Bill Hart, to be honest. So if we were going to move one of those guys back half a line, I'd probably lean Darwin, but it could work.
All right. So the next list of the question we have is, who are your top 5 players to build around for the 2026 season right now?
Assuming anybody we pick would actually be willing to come back, like we just get to sign up 5 guys for next year.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Okay, so Darwin's the easiest first pick, on the board, right?
Yeah.
Probably go Marcelo.
Okay.
I mean, there's not much else that overly excites me. Kirkland. Give me, honestly, probably not because I think they're the best players, but I think more from the project side of things, and we've already invested a bit. Griffin and Beckett.
Okay.
Because what's the point of what we've been doing the last couple of years if you're not to be able to see this go through to the end?
Yeah. I'm surprised you went a little. I'm surprised you didn't have Fitch or Dak on there. Honestly,
don't know how bad Dak's injury is. So
I agree.
It kind of makes it hard to want him to be a building block piece. Simon, if it was the best players, Simon would have been picked instead of Griffin or Beckett. I think you'd probably find other guys to play right back if you need to, and it's more of just the other 3 guys. I think just more higher priority spots, and the last 2 guys are more of for the bigger picture side of things, proof of concept, rather than maybe fully earned spots.
Okay.
What about you? You're not getting off the hook here.
No, I'm not. I agree with Marcelo. I agree with Beckett. I like Griffin. Really, those are 3 defensive players.
I know
Kirkland,
it felt really weird to pick that many defensive players, given how big of a disaster zone that line's been.
yeah. And I'm stuck in between Simon or Darwin.
You got
That's
two
what,
more.
and Snedden. Those are the 3 that I'm stuck between. Oh, man. I'm gonna go Darwin. If I
Okay,
had to
still got
go,
one more.
hold on. No, I said Darwin, Kirkland, Beckett, Griffin.
I didn't hear you say
Marcelo.
Kirkland. Okay.
Yeah. Those are my 5.
All right, so we end up on the same.
Yeah,
Cool.
more or less. Like Simon's like
If I didn't have to pick 5, wouldn't have been the end of the world.
no. Yeah, I mean that just tells you what the priorities. I think one, none of us picked a midfielder, so that tells you where we both think the major issue is, and not another attacker. I mean, outside of 2 attackers, 3 center backs, goalkeeper is another issue as well. I don't think that has nothing wrong to say about just then. I just think,
I mean, there's also a million goalkeepers out there.
yeah, I think we need a more veteran goalkeeper, just to help Snedden out. But yeah, let's see. Next list of the question we have. This is an interesting one. The whole idea behind the Kickers is to get your own youth kids, get them to play time, let them move on. Right. With that in mind, would seasons like this hurt that process in the long term? And with bad seasons means less interested. New kids are less interested in buying Kickers Pro players. So pretty much the question is, do seasons like this hinder our ability to move on youth players or not?
So I think they're 2 different questions, really. Like,
Okay.
I think the short answer is no, because there's no correlation between, you know, guys, gaining experience and getting ready with results on the field. Like look all around the world. Usually, the teams that guys come up on, unless you're like the handpicked, like wonder kids of the world. You usually start on teams where you get your skulls beaten in, and you get noticed and work your way up. So the fact that it's been a bad year, I don't think that's going to be necessarily the reason why guys wouldn't want to come here. Like, if anything, you could say, hey, there's opportunity here. We're going to give it to you, hell or high water, right?
Yeah.
And that could be the argument made instead. I think what might the holdup could be down the line is, and we've talked about this before, is that proof of concept. Are they actually going to be able and capable of moving any of these young guys on to another level, whether that's the championship, whether that's to some other pro team in a different country, and not just move them on, sell them on. So if a guy contract runs out and you go sign for an MLS Next Pro team, no, that doesn't count. That's not what we're talking about. Here, we're talking about the team getting money in exchange for the player services.
Mhm.
I feel like we said that if Griffin was still here for 2026, something's gone wrong.
Getting close to it.
Yeah, so I feel like ball's got to start getting rolling on this. I think some of it is also better player identification too. Like, they brought the Gomez kid over from SoCal.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a midfielder, you can't get minutes in this midfield right now. Like, that ain't it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Kanagwa, he was a youngish side of college
And I
side.
was like 24, 25, dude.
Yeah, but no. What I'm saying, like in terms of like he's a college player, that you would think like to your same point, like if he can get minutes in this midfield, like what does that say about him?
So I took the question more the teenager side of things,
Yeah,
not like first or second year pro side of things.
yeah. No, I agree with you. I don't think it hinders anything too much because I think like if you're dedicated to giving kids playing time, you're gonna give them playing time regardless. That's what it's been, regardless of what's been told to us. I think the kickers have to find an ability how to balance both. Like they have to find out a way how to have veteran players that can carry the youth until the youth are ready to produce. And I personally think we try to rely on the youth players kind of leading us, and we saw where that led up to. And it's not on their fault because they're young, but with youth comes mistakes, and we didn't have veteran leaders that could cover up those mistakes for them. So that's where I think. The last list of questions we have before we get up out of here is with Mika Elevora moving on to Sarasota, which been confirmed. We'll talk about that a little bit. What do you think will be the biggest miss with him not being on the sidelines in the 2026 season?
I mean, it's hard to say. Like nominally, he works with all the young guys, stuff like that. So there's that level.
Yeah,
It's good opportunity, for him. But I think this, might be a good opportunity to, get fresh voices into the locker room, right? So, it's kind of been the same, core group for 6 years. Okay, there's been a guy added in periodically as it goes, but you know the two core voices have been there for a long time. Maybe getting a little bit of a refresh isn't the worst thing in the world,
yeah,
right? So, uh, yeah, I mean, it's hard to say not being at practice and not knowing all the ins and outs of everything. Uh, who's really responsible for what exactly. Uh, so good luck to him, except for when we play them, and we'll see what happens.
yeah. I mean, I'm so glad this year that he finally did get to pay off his long-awaited head coaching debut for the Richmond Kickers. He finally got to pay it off, like 5 years later. But yeah, I mean, I think to me personally, I think the biggest miss is going to be maybe in the youth development because I know he had a big hand in setting up our youth academy and how things like that went. So I think that's going to be a big miss. But yeah, it's hard to say. And you're right. Like when new voices come, new ideas and things like that. And honestly, it just felt like it was maybe just time, the end of a cycle. And outside of Matt Bullock, he is the last link to David Beulah, I
Yeah.
believe. So, yeah, that's what we have there. Before we move on into talking about Mika, if you have any listener questions, make sure you send them our way. We're probably going to need it for the next 2 episodes. So you can do it a couple of ways. You can send it to us via Instagram, on Discord, Facebook, Blue Sky, or on our website, River City 93. There's a tab where you can go to and send a question or whatnot. And we'd be more than glad to answer them on the show. Also, if you want to support the show, you can do so at rivercity93.com/support. 2 things, Matt, before we wrap up. 1, happy birthday to Matt Bolduck, Kickers legend. We love him. Also, Simon Fitch. I don't know if we talked about it last podcast, but he got 100 caps. And last thing, let's talk about Mika going to Sarasota. Like, we don't have
Sarasota.
to spend super long on it. I mean, Sarasota. Is it Sarasota?
Sarasota.
Sarasota? I've been saying Sarasota. Sarasota. I'm going to mess that up a bunch of times. But what do you think? How does Mika go about developing his team? And how do you think that first matchup is going to go when he's back in City Stadium?
So Sarasota, it's a little south of Tampa. So they'll probably be quote unquote rivals with Naples because Naples has got to be somewhere around there. If I
Yeah.
remember, yeah, they're further south. But
And they played in the U.S. Open Cup against each other, which was a fun matchup too.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if you see a few guys follow him down there. I mean, living right on the water on the Gulf of Mexico side, there's probably worse places to set up shop.
Right.
So I don't think recruitment should necessarily be a problem. There's obviously Florida's a pretty talent rich state overall. Uh, I think a lot of it's going to come for him. Is going to come down to what kind of resources are made available to him. Is it going to be a situation where, all right, we're building up from the youth. That's why we got you specifically. We want to be able to take. I'm not going to pretend like I know the youth clubs down there, and we want to be able to do something big off out of that. Is it, hey, here's some duffel bags of money. We're going to be what will be the new Westchester, what will be the new Spokane. Only time will tell. Or more likely somewhere in between. I mean, we've seen in this league that first-year teams can come in and make some noise right away. So, if he's able to build a staff, with the right connections, the right contacts, and be able to use his 7 years of knowledge in this league to be able to get the right veteran signings. Hey, maybe this can be Jake Keegan's sixth club he can score a goal for.
Oh man, that would be so
they're making it hard on him to be able to get one for everybody with the rate they're adding teams now.
Yeah, it's not fair.
Man's trying his best, but it's going to be a challenge. But maybe Mika throws him a bone.
Yeah. Do you? I mean, you already kind of opened it, but do you see who's? Yeah, how am I trying to answer this? What kicker players do you see going down there following Mika? I say Chandler. I think Chandler might be one because I know he has a good relationship with Mika. Maybe Maxi. Maybe
I mean,
even Emmy.
I'm not going to pretend to be able to guess on this right now.
I am. I want to guess, but yeah, I mean, once again, happy for Mika. I gotta wonder, like, how is it like he put in his 2 week notice and he's just sitting there waiting, like, do you guys still want my help in the project or not?
No, he's too much of a professional to sandbag anything in the meantime. And
Yeah, I know.
I mean, with the season going on, like still has had a game up close and personal with some Texoma guys. Had game up close and personal next week with some Alta guys, Madison guys, in a couple of weeks where maybe some of those post game conversations guys always have cross teams sound a little bit different all of a sudden.
Start rubbing elbows, like, hey, coach,
Yeah, let's talk in a few weeks. All right,
yeah.
I hear you.
All right, I see you. I'll tap in with you.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to do any less preparation work for the club in the meantime. Like again, he's proper professional guy on that level. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he's like, hey, here's my number. Call me in a month.
Yeah. So I mean, right now, it feels like the changing of a guard is coming. Does this lead to any other changes? More than likely, probably so, but we'll see. But if you want to stay up to date on all those changes, make sure you follow us on Instagram, YouTube at River City 93. Number one social all things Richmond Kickers. Matt, we got AV Alts on Friday night, and then we end the season with the Henny Derby. We'll see.
Did they confirm what time that game is on Friday yet?
I don't think so.
Okay. So I remember at one point it was listed as like 7 or something, like that, which would be like a 4 p.m. kickoff out there, which seems wrong.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I have no idea, but we'll see. Hope to see everyone at the last home game. If I don't catch you Friday night, then we'll surely be talking about it somewhere. But Matt, anything else from you before we wrap up, Buckeye?
No. 2 more to go, and then can be put out of our misery for a few months.
Yeah, long vacation time. I'm pretty sure we'll come back with some random podcast with some random player. We'll see. But
Actually, no, I take that back. Big Charlotte fan, right now. If they're gonna, do us in, let's get them across the line and get them in that playoff spot. Same as Pimenta.
I can't believe you're saying that.
Look, desperate times.
That is wild.
The alternative, no.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, we'll see. As always, for Matt, myself, and everyone else here at River City 93, we just want to say thank you for taking the time of your day for listening to our show. Because without you, we wouldn't do this. We couldn't do this. So we just want to say thank you. As always, if you want to donate to the podcast, you can so at rivercity93.com/support. For Matt, myself, we will holler at you guys next week where hopefully we have something to talk about. If not, we'll do another listener question. But either way, we'll be here. Bye, y'all.